Prophet ﷺ said, when someone entrusts you with something, then fulfill their trust. وَلَا تَخُنْ مَنْ خَانَكَ. Don't betray those who betray you. Don't act in like manner with people that act in a certain way with you. If you need to end that relationship, end it. We talked about that last week. But don't become that person. Don't justify your own bad behavior by that person's bad behavior towards you. And that's why, subhanAllah, even in the hijrah, I mean, I know we say this, but imagine, they're trying to kill the Prophet ﷺ, but at the same time, they're storing their amanat with him. They're storing their trusts with him. The same people that are plotting a plot to take him out have their most precious possessions with him because they know that even in those circumstances, no one's more trustworthy than him. And what did the Prophet ﷺ do? Did he say, you know what, since you're kicking me out of Mecca, I'm going to take this with me to Medina? No, he leaves Ali radiallahu anhu behind and he says, go return this to this person, go return this to this person, go return this to this person. And risk your life in the process, by the way. Because we hold ourselves to a different standard. I'm not going to become like that person. I'm not going to become like that standard. I'm not going to subject myself to that. Rasulullah ﷺ rose above it, not just after Islam, but even before it. Alayhi salatu wassalam. And that's from his husn al-khuluq. And the Prophet ﷺ understands that it's only natural that as time goes on, look, you can get to a point where you're just sick of people, where you start to act towards people, even unintentionally sometimes, with a new meanness and a crudeness and a harshness and a suspicion because of what was done to you. And we learn from the Prophet ﷺ that don't punish people with the pain that was inflicted on you. It's not fair. It's not fair. You know, subhanAllah, sometimes people become monsters in society, and what's the first excuse, especially, you know, if the person fits a certain profile? Well, when they were kids and this happened. That doesn't excuse anything. No one carries the burden of another person. You don't get to inflict pain on someone else because it was inflicted on you. That's not the way that this works. There are ways to seek justice, and Islam has mechanisms of justice. We're not a religion that says overlook justice, but at the same time, when there is an inevitable wrongdoing that has no recourse in this life, we turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we seek it in the next life. So don't punish people with the pain that was inflicted on you. Also seek to be the difference that you want to see in people around you. When you read the hadith of the 100 camels, tell yourself, I'm going to be the one camel. I don't just read that and say, yeah, you know, Sadaqa Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and indeed we say that, but most people I meet are very messed up people, 99 out of 100, right? No, say, what does it take to be the one out of the 100? Because the Prophet ﷺ said, "Fi kulli qarnin min ummati sabiqun." Every generation of my ummah has people that lead the way, not just in ibadah and akhlaq as well, and character as well. They refuse to succumb to nastiness and the practices and things that have become acceptable amongst the people. They just don't do it. So I'll be the dependable friend. I'll be the one that's trustworthy. Even if that's going to cost me something of this dunya, I'll be that person. But I won't lose my akhirah. I won't lose my hereafter. And hopefully I will seek something from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the process. Also, subhanAllah, sometimes we penalize people in our lives that come afterwards, that may be just as honest as us or better than us. We all see ourselves as the good people, right? So just make that assumption that if I'm not the person that's wronging and I've been the one that's wrong, sometimes other people come up in our life and we don't treat them right. Because I can't trust again. I don't know if I can love again. I don't know if I can move on from this. I don't know if I can establish a friendship again. And let me say that is natural. وَلَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا. Allah does not burden a person beyond their scope. It is natural that when you've been betrayed, when you've been wronged, when you've been disappointed, it takes time to build that. However, don't preclude the possibility. Rasulullah ﷺ's loving relationship with the Ansar after the betrayal of his own people. That's something. And yes, he's Rasulullah ﷺ and that standard is there, but you know what? We aim for that standard. It's possible, right? Allah took away from the Prophet ﷺ through the process of Al-Furqan, this criteria that came with the religion, his uncles, but he got Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, right? He got people like Sa'd ibn Mu'adh radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He got others, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that Allah put in his path as a result. Also, lower your expectations in people as a whole and place your hopes in the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are going to be times that people are going to let you down. We as Muslims, bay'atu Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ala alla asr an-nas shay'a. I mean, that was the acumen, the way that we approach the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I took bay'ah with the Prophet ﷺ on the basis I will never ask people for anything. I'm going to try to be the person that helps people. I'm going to try to be al-yad al-ulya, the upper hand. I'm going to try to be the person that puts themselves in a situation where they lift people up out of their vulnerability rather than ending up in too much vulnerability myself. I'm going to try to be a person that helps others, that tries to set the standard. Try to not be in that situation where you will have these expectations of people. They will disappoint you. Place your hopes in the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.